first, congratulations on Turn the Board.
Thank you.
And can talk first about you coming in with your longtime companion and getting the film mounted. Is this your first film produced?
This is my first film executive produced, yeah.
Not too shabby.
Talk a little about, one, the challenge of working, getting someone to finance a first-time director. And films of this nature are particularly hard to finance in this climate. So you talk a little bit about getting the picture mounted.
Right. Well, I signed on to be an executive producer mainly because of Ryan Williams, the writer-director's vision. And we met over 5 years ago working on a short film that he was doing. And he was talking to me about this back then. And after a couple years of doing research and really spending a lot of time thinking about it, he finally said, I think I have a story I want to tell. And for me, what was compelling about supporting his vision was that his perspective was so unique, and he had a vision to tell a human story and not take a political side. And, that really evolved. I feel like he had his own his own ideas about the war, about soldiers, about them coming home, and he spent a lot of time really rounding out his knowledge of what it is, and ultimately his choice was, my political beliefs don't belong in this film. My political beliefs, can't empower or provide hope to someone who's already been through it, something that I'll never understand or experience. And so to me, it just felt like an interesting take from a filmmaker to kind of really approach it from a human story, and especially a topic that's such a hot button issue right now. And so I signed on as an executive producer before the first draft of the script, and was with it through the writing process, and then through the process of trying to get actors attached that might greenlight the film, and it's hard because there's, as a first time director, I think that your instinct is to fight and not compromise the well-being of the film, and then there's the reality of, well, how do I get my movie made? And so that's a really fine balance. The fact that the 5 male actors of that age who could get a film of that size greenlit wouldn't read the script was frustrating. So where do you go from there? And then we found a way to kind of get other actors like Wilmer, like Melissa Leo, Academy Award nominated actress, like Jason Ritter, who have an incredible value, but wouldn't have been the obvious choices for a film like this, but are thoughtful actors who saw the value in the film. And it was just a long process. It was, I don't want to take up all the time, I'm sorry, but it's hard to get movies made in this day and age, and it's hard to get movies of this subject made. And honestly, I think that at the end of the day, it was about people who really believed in the message of the film and the perspective of the film. And I'll let Wilmer talk about it.
Talk about that. I mean, did you research post-traumatic stress? I understand you do a lot of what do you call it? USO tour. What are the things in the research that you discovered? Or did you know a lot about going in, and a lot of it just confirmed what you already knew, or did you find new things?
It was a little bit of everything. It was a little bit of everything. I think, first of all, I've been to over 9 countries. I've been to Iraq, and I've been to Afghanistan, and I've been a long-time member of the USO. And while spending all this time with the troops and the soldiers, the more you get emotionally invested in them, you can't help but to understand what is at least, at the very least, just understand a little bit what it kind of is to be out there, and what it kind of is, to be a family member, and a best friend to one of these men and women, and the more and more I understood what a soldier was, and the more I understood that there was things that we needed to talk about, and I think that's what kept fueling me more and more. And as I would read script, a lot of scripts have this subliminal political agenda, and that's not something I was very interested in. One of the things that I was very excited to do was to find a movie that talked about the human behind the soldier and not the soldier behind the cause, and which is our next frontier. And I believe that entertainment industry should really embrace that asset. It doesn't matter who made the call and why we're there now at this point. We're there, and it's really about understanding the conversation and understanding, how do we welcome, our men and women. And really, at the end of the day, it's about us as a national community appreciating our brother and a sister that take a job that is, that is a, you know, this is a big sacrifice as we all can look at it, you know, and I think that's what I think this movie, you know, bottles up, and I'm thrilled and excited, and I really hope that everyone can go and check out this movie and understand the subject matter, and you know, and you guys should definitely check out thedryland.com for dates and where it's coming to a city near you, because it's, I think that somehow we owe it to our brothers and sisters to understand, you know, a little bit more, you know, what they go through.
Mm-hmm.